Hey guys, welcome back to Russian Libertas Corpus YouTube channel. That's the place where we, Alexei Postnikov, Gala Bogatova, are talking about Russian politics, Russian society, things like that. So last time we we used this analogy when we were talking about Prigozhin's rebellion, that Putin acted in a way like offended or hurt boyfriend, and we decided to go deeper into that analogy because after giving it a thought, a lot of Putin's tactics, strategies, and his
discourse,
in his political life as a president. I would say gave us the idea that maybe he tries to transfer the interpersonal relationship on the level of state or even international level, because that's how he operates.
He's so simplistically minded that he extrapolates interpersonal relations and dynamic that would happen in a family or among personal friends to the field of the political. What I think in general, you can be pretty primitive and simplistic even in an interpersonal level, which he is.
With a lot of personal issues, complexes, and
I think he spills over his activity, his political activity, a lot of his own personal issues, like who doesn't? But in his case, this tactics that he uses are psychopathic, and the manner that he expresses himself when he justifies or explains his action or offers a hypothesis or a legend about something that already happened or supposed to happen, and manipulates the events and the words about these events. It all reminds me the dynamic of something like domestic abuse, or which is like pretty trendy concept right now, narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic abuse that happened in the personal relation on the working place or family. I think this is quite an outstanding, a crazy idea to draw this parallel so straightforwardly, because politics and psychology are not that intersecting. They are intersecting in a way. You can call it an interdisciplinary approach. So we decided to just list a set of different tactics that an abuser or manipulator or a psychopath, whatever you like to call the person who is extremely manipulative,
or all of the above.
All of the above, the combined, dark triad, Machiavellian kind of type of person, would act in interpersonal relations in order to solicit, in order to get this resource from their victim without giving anything in exchange. So let's start.
Okay, what's number one? Also, Gala made this list. I'm not that.
You just want to
I'm just gonna support with the evidence of Putin's behavior.
Right, the responsibility is mine. I just want to have this exercise with you, the mental exercise with you guys, so you can just bounce back your ideas, criticize me if you wish, or maybe you notice something in addition to my list. So the first thing that I would like to mention is our favorite, probably, is gaslighting. Gaslighting, in my understanding, in interpersonal relation, means to create the environment or mental state of a person where he or she doubts themselves all the time.
And that's, I would say,
Sorry, what?
So, and that's, I would say, one of the main and one of the favorite Putin's tactics, not only Putin, but also the whole state propaganda built on that. So if you want us to talk about propaganda specifically, let us know in the comments, and we maybe talk about that. But the way Putin uses this it is gaslighting, is impeccable and unprecedented. Let's go to year 2014, annexation of Crimea. Russian soldiers in Crimea occupying peninsula and taking control over, administrative buildings, military bases, and so on. While Putin is saying, "Oh, this is just local militia or like some rebellious groups, or they bought the weapons in the local store," which, by the way, it's not U.S. You cannot go and buy semi-automatic weapon in the store. But also they also had tanks.
Right.
And then, so
I wonder, like,
what
auto shop sells tanks.
So that's 2014. Then 2016, when it was in some interview, there was, journalist or the person who calls themselves journalist because he works for state media, asked him a question about Crimea, and without any, transitional stage, Putin says, "Yeah, it was our soldiers. How it could be otherwise?" It's like, what? So
right.
Yeah.
So he creates instead of convincing a person to think into some concept or belief, what gaslighting does is it creates the mental state where you can't be sure about any of the concepts that are offered. So basically, what can happen is the person constantly contradicts him or herself, denies everything that you were quite sure you saw with your own eyes and you heard with your own ears, but it's completely denied. But then you've been offered the just directly the contrary. So the gaslighting creates this contradictive pattern where you're not sure if you heard what you heard, if you saw what you saw, and if you can't be sure that right now, whatever you believe in right now, tomorrow will not flip to the contrary, like 90 degrees. So that's what Putin does very often on the international level in his domestic politics, and very successfully, I would say, because so far he's been able to confuse people for 20 years for now. And that's how a lot of families stay in one household for decades.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
And then another example, this war that's going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
As you might heard, in Russia officially it's not war, it's special military operation, and
that's
some people being prosecuted.
That's a different tactic. That's called redefining the reality. Redefining the reality is creating a term that contradicts your own definition of reality. For example, this is not the war. This is military operation. This is not the default. This is negative growth, right? So redefining reality is not specifically gaslighting. It's a redefining linguistically,
right.
Because gaslighting is denying the fact completely. If you would say there is no war going on, it's just you are just mad,
right.
or these people are lying to you. This is gaslighting. And then the next day say, this is war.
Right.
Of course this is war. This is going on for years. Are you crazy? Are you stupid? You haven't seen it?
Well, they kind of going to
right.
that point now because they trying to make it somehow,
right.
And on one hand, not war, the special military operation, which is something like short and efficient that's going on for 15 months. And on the other hand, this is the basically the continuation of the Great Patriotic War, which was for Soviet Union, was the part of World War II, specifically after Germany attacked Soviet Union.
The next tactics that I would love to bring up here is infantilization. Infantilization, as you probably might have already guessed, is to assign to a grown-up adult person who is quite capable of taking responsibility to their own decisions and their own choices, an identity of a child who's incapable of doing so, and constantly use the language or create the environment for them so that they doubt their own consciousness, their own, adulthood, so that they would rely more on a person who is defining their reality for them and rely on their choices and decisions. That's why a lot of the times when victims of abusive relationships get out of this relationship, they doubt themselves, they cannot even choose what food they like, what clothes they want to wear, simple choices, because they've been infantilized into believing that they cannot sustain themselves or they are not capable of sober decisions.
And that was the whole logic behind dismantling Russian election system.
And democracy whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, election system as one of the core parts of democracy, because the last 10 years after the first protests in the new wave of protests of 2011, 2012, we live in this reactionary era where the big movement on that level was to destroy municipal level of representation. So according to last changes in Constitution of 2020, municipal level of parliaments or councils were basically included in the state vertical, which goes against the Russian Constitution. They just used a different term for vertical of power in this case, for the state power. But that's what happened. But the logic behind it, like why state need to have more control over elections for your city council of the small town of 50,000 people? Well, you know why? Because people cannot choose wisely a proper person. If you give people freedom to choose whoever they want, of course they're gonna choose some radical, criminal, pervert. Well, just add your own bad person to that list, and that was the logic, that people in Russia cannot choose a proper person to represent them. So that's why they were dismantling, these local councils, the system of the election in these local councils, and most of all, mayors. Right now in Russia, I think only 3 or 4 region capitals have elected mayors, and I remind you that Russia before the war, before annexing new territories and all that, consists of 85 regions. So 81 capital of the regions do not have elected mayors. They all appointed, because people from regional administration who are controlled by people from presidential administration will know better who to choose, not
like a better parent.
Yeah. Not
so
you.
This
people.
is completely this system is degrading people's sense of responsibility and political engagement and just mental vitality. To just be a normal adult human being, which is sad. So let's summon on that. And the last one that I would like to address in this particular video.
Yeah, because guys, the list is really long. We decided to break it into 2 videos. So as you probably guessed by the name of this video, this is part 1. So that's the last for today, but definitely not last for Putin.
Yeah, the list is indeed very, very long. Like abusers, instruments, toolbox is quite impressive. There are a lot of them in the box. But the last one that I would like to address, and I'm very curious about your opinion on that, if you have noticed anything like that, is familization. What I call familization is justifying any injustice, any violence, any abuse, or absolutely contradictive behavior, absence of logic, whatever, with the fact that we are a family. We are a family. How can you not trust me? We are a family. Why do you think I hurt you? Because I love you. I want to teach you. I want to discipline you. We are a family. How can you not give me all your money? We are what else? Like, the list can go on and on and on and on and on. If we're a family, there are no limits. There are no boundaries. There is no justice because we're a family. That's in the crazy world of Vladimir Putin and some other people that, have this skewed, hyper-patriarchal sense of,
Yeah, and I guess the brightest, if I can say brightest example of that is actually international relationship between Russia and Ukraine, because we basically live in this narrative for probably like centuries that Russians, Ukrainians, and Belarusians essentially are brother nation, yeah. And
Kiev is the mother of Russian cities. There's a saying, very ancient one.
Yes, and basically using this logic, Putin essentially was trying to show that, first of all, like, Ukrainians, they're not a separate, different nation with their own, history. Although we share history, I mean, there is no point of denying that. But Putin was trying to, I don't know, kind of like privatize this history. This is a Russian history, therefore Ukrainians are some sort of like Russians, but like a lost son, prodigal son,
right?
In a way. So our duty as big brother or something to bring our younger brother back to the family, meaning what in this logic, meaning like whatever Putin thinks is good for Russians, which is not good for Russians, like, oh, let's make the same with Ukrainians, which is terrible thing. And he kind of went on this spiral of denying Ukrainian identity and considering them as part of this big Russian family, deeper and deeper in the course of the last, starting Crimea, so since 2014, and that's how it all ended. Because before 2014, I would say nobody would argue in Russia, Ukraine, or Belarus that we are really connected, we're really close, and we're in a way are kind of a brothers and sisters.
This is exactly very dangerous formulation, and because we have been brought up in this concept that is quite ambiguous, and as it ended up being quite dangerous, we cannot look. We don't say that the United States and England are anything of a family or brother nations, even though they're also very connected. These are separate states. They are connected culturally, ethnically. They have the United States have inherited a lot of the cultural legacy of the Great Britain. Yet nobody has this idea that the United States and the United Kingdom are like a mother and a child, anything like that. No, these two countries operate in political terms. They think about sovereignty, they think about security, they think about agreements. How come that three sovereign countries came up with the idea that they're brother nation? What does it even mean? What does it even mean? And it's very interesting if you imply that family doesn't predispose any personal boundaries, which in Russian patriarchal families they don't, then being a brother on a political level is a very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Because your boundaries are not taken into account. They have no right to exist. Now you have to submit to whoever is the older brother or bigger brother, just because he can. So at this point, I'm very curious about your opinion and feedback about it. And if you want to learn more, drop a comment down below. I'd be grateful for your questions. This is a very interesting topic to me, and I hope for you too, guys.
Yeah, and also guys, don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends or enemies or strangers. And of course, if you like it, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the part 2 of this crazy list next time. Bye.
Bye.